Hi, I'm Bonnie Coffey, and welcome to Moving Bastrop Forward. This is a program produced by the City of Bastrop to keep you informed about what's going on in our community. And we have our City Manager, Mike Talbot, with us today to keep us all up to date. Mike, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Bonnie.
Excellent.
I appreciate you taking time out to do this.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Let's talk a little bit about the DMO,
Okay.
the district marketing organization that's coming about. There's a lot of discussion, and we can't be very long at it, but give us a synopsis.
Well, first I want to make sure that the public or our citizens understand what does DMO stand for, and that is a destination marketing organization, and the global purpose of a destination marketing organization is to create a common theme amongst all entities that are trying to promote and create tourism in your town. And the city is wanting to move forward towards that process of creating a destination marketing organization. And we'll be taking the first step in that direction Thursday night. We have Miss Catherine Ray of Catherine Ray and Associates is going to come down and conduct a workshop, and is going to take input from businesses, other entities, council and board members, and helping prepare what we call a request for proposal. And we're wanting to hear from these groups and citizens who have expressed an interest in this process. And so making sure that we capsulize some of these concepts into our request for proposal. And then we will send that request for proposal out to various consulting firms, and with the end goal in mind of helping direct the city through this maze of how to create an effective destination marketing organization that should, once you get it organized and running properly, the money that you invest in advertising, we should be able to quantitatively identify the return on those advertising dollars.
Excellent. Well, now that we're all up to speed on that,
right.
Let's talk about the rain and the thunder that kind of shook the city a couple of days ago.
I'm really delighted that you raised that issue, Bonnie. Yes, we did have a lot of rain this weekend, and we did get calls here at City Hall. I was out most of Sunday afternoon. I think the first point that I want to make for the citizens is we received between 6 to 8 inches of rain in about a 2-hour time frame. And that is a phenomenal...
We were a little wet.
That was a phenomenal amount of rain. It was equivalent to what happened back in Halloween, and actually what happened back in the Memorial Day weekend. And I know that people are concerned that there are drainage problems, and I'm not trying to skate away from the issue. Yes, we do have drainage problems. We have corrected quite a few of them, but we still have more to correct. But more importantly, there's not a drainage structure most generally construed or designed and constructed that will handle that kind of a rain event. And it's really unusual that in less than a 12-month time frame, we have had 3 major rain events. And the reason why I'm saying that this is not only attributed to the city of Bastrop. Sunday night when I finally got home and watched the 10 o'clock news, one of the news channels reported in and around the Austin area there were 79 street closures.
Wow.
Due to flooding. Well, that's exactly what happens when you have that kind of rain event coming into into your city. Now, where it's helpful, and I think what was really positive, that we had mass coverage of the city Sunday afternoon with city personnel identifying those areas that may be in need of either some remediation or because things have changed over time and may need some improvements. But at the end of the day, when you have that much rain in that short a time frame, you're going to have flooding, and it's just part of that. And the concept is they talk about the 25-year flood. That's what you use as a design criteria. What in layman terms, what that's saying is that drainage structure is being designed that a 25-year flood event will happen once in 25 years. Well, we've seen it happen 3 times in less than a year. Does that mean we maybe need to look at our regulations and stiffen them? I don't know. Most of the cities in Texas use the 25-year flood event as a
special.
For standard. But this area of Texas has just been hit hard. The Dallas-Fort Worth area got hit just as hard as we did. And again, many areas were flooding up in that area. And that is typical when you have this larger rain event.
And we're still expecting more later
Yes,
this week.
and it becomes more problematic when that occurs because the ground right now is so saturated with water, there's no place for them. Like initially when the storm hits and it's dry, a lot of water will go into the ground. But right now, I mean, I walked out of my backyard last night.
It's a little soggy.
It's there. So if we get another 2 to 3 inches like tonight or tomorrow morning, there's no place for that water to go other than into your drainage areas, and they're going to go in at a faster rate than they normally would.
So be on the lookout and be wary.
But we encourage people, if you're experiencing flooding, please call the emergency line or after hours call line or call the police department. We are keeping additional persons on standby throughout the rest of the week to address this issue.
That's good to know.
Yes.
On the totally opposite end of water, let's talk about the fire department and their renovation. And I have to tell you that poor little fire department has been looking real sad ever since I got to Bastrop 5 years ago, and it's looking much better right now.
Yes, we've had to do a complete renovation of the exterior of that building, and boy, you're hitting some good topics today. The first thing we had to do in last fiscal year, one of the problems we were encountering at the fire department on Chestnut Street is we were having water penetrating into the building. And it was determined that the roof had lived out its life expectancy. And we had it analyzed by a structural engineering firm, and they said that we needed to replace the roof before we put the brick facade on. So in last fiscal year, we did replace the roof. There's a brand new roof on there, tightly seals the building. And then we came back this fiscal year and began putting the brick facade on. Because some people did express concern that we had taken down brick and it didn't look like we were doing anything. And as a good friend of mine would say, it's all a function of money. We had to spend a substantial amount of money putting the new roof on in the last fiscal year, and to make sure that we did not have problems going into the future, we used a different product on that brick facade, and I think it's going to end up as a really good long-term quality project for our city. And depending upon weather, they're within 2 weeks of completing that project, and it'll be complete. And our new fire chief, Chief Obus, is going to have an open house after that is complete, so the people can come down and see all the improvements that have been made, not only to the building but to the fire department. Because also in this fiscal year budget, we've hired for the first time in our history a fire chief to move us in the direction of what we call a joint volunteer and paid fire department.
Excellent. Well, that's good news. I didn't even know that part. That's
Yes.
good. That's good. Lastly, let's talk about Fisherman's Park. It's getting all spruced up.
Yes. As I'm sure you've heard me speak at some of the council meetings, because you're a regular, and we appreciate citizens who come down and take time to listen to what's going on. But one, we received an economic development grant through the Economic Development Administration. It was a small grant, but it was substantial enough where the stair steps that we put from the library down into the park, we were able to buy enough lighting and materials to light that stairway all the way down and some additional lights into the park. So it will make it more secure by being lighted at night or lit at night, and make people want to use the stairs more. And I think people will feel more secure in the park when they're down there with this increased lighting. Secondly, it gets back to your community, and we ended up the fiscal year 15 in much better shape than we had projected. There were additional funds left over, and we're going to put new bathroom facilities down there because the current facilities they're worn out and they've been there forever. The important thing is not only are we putting a new restroom facilities, but it's not going to be at the same location. We're actually going to move it up to the hill closer to the splash park. And the reason that we're going to be relocating it is because right now the river is going to crest because of the rains at potentially 23 to 26 feet. We're going to get water probably into those bathroom facilities, and that's just been a constant maintenance item for us. The new bathroom facilities, it will take a much higher level and we're hoping it will never get there, but we can't guarantee, though it's going to be elevated, but that's going to be a reduced maintenance item for us, and the appearance of it's going to be very nice. It's going to be a much larger restroom facility to accommodate big crowds on there during the weekend or when special events occur. And we hope to have those restrooms installed. We're kind of buying what we call a prefab modular unit, and it'll be pretty well built and come in and set in down there. But we would like to, if at all possible, to have it done before the Chamber of Commerce has their July 4th patriotic celebration down at the park. I'm putting a question on that. We're trying really hard to have it done. We may make it, we may not, but that's our goal.
It's always nice to have a goal.
Yes, it is.
In fact, I have to tell you that when you, I think it was Trey showed the pictures of that.
Yes.
Very attractive. I mean, very,
yes.
very nice.
Yes, and I think it's going to add so much between the lighting in this facility, and this kind of has a tourism element to it from my perspective. I mean, I have to admit, I mean, if somebody uses the restroom facilities down there now, it doesn't say much for the community. But with putting these new restrooms in, I think it's going to make a large statement about people coming into our community and trying to have the proper amenities for a good experience. And
Absolutely.
we're debating what to do with the existing restroom facilities, whether to make that a storage unit for materials, or do we just tear it down? And we're wrestling with that issue. I think we're going to see what's going to be best for the park before we make that decision.
See what fits.
Yes.
What fits. Excellent. Mike, thank you for bringing us all up to date.
You bet.
There's always something going on.
Oh, yes.
And no wonder you're so busy.
Oh, thank you.
Wanted to thank you all for joining us today on Moving Bastrop Forward. This program is produced by the City of Bastrop to keep citizens informed about what's going on in our community. So get involved. Let us know what you think. Send us your comments and your suggestions. And in the meantime, let's keep Bastrop moving forward. Thanks for joining us today.